Hi trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So the guru, the great Glen Mills, the one that led the legendary Usain Bolt on his exploits to world domination, had a sit-down interview with Sportsmax. I'll leave a link in the description for you to go ahead and listen to the full context of the interview. But yeah, very, very insightful, touched on many different topics. And I'm going to be reacting to portions of what he said. And in this video, really want to touch on the oblique civil section and pretty much how he's doing herein after the men's 100-meter finals at the Olympic Games, plus also what I deemed it to be a huge red flag that came out of what he had to say. All right, so first off, how is Oblique Civil? Clearly, he is gutted. That's what Glenn Mills had to say. Third time, getting to the championships and not leaving with an individual medal in the finals. So he's pretty hurt from that. They were all looking for medals, especially given how amazing he looked, including myself. We were all looking for medals, given how awesome he looked. But he's like, listen, this is the ebbs and flows in life. Your time will come, pretty much, right? He also did touch on, what led up to the why Oblique Civil was not able to, eventually be on the medal podium. Well, he seemingly has a hip to groin injury, and because of said injury, unfortunately he was not 100%. We did know this leading into the Paris Olympic Games, actually, that he came out of the national 100-meter championship final with said injury, which he was rushed off to Germany to see Dr. Hans Muller-Wohlfahrt, right? And coming out of that, he still wasn't 100%, and they were just going to try their best, pretty much, you could say. But given how awesome he looked in the heat and in the semifinal, like, come on, who remembered the fact that Oblique Civil was carrying any injury? We're like, okay, world domination, Jamaica gold and silver. You know what I mean? Pretty much. So, Glenn Mills just had to say, hey, the leg didn't hold up.
Um, yeah, it's painful because we had expectations of a very high level too. Um, okay, the unfortunate thing is that after the trials, he got hurt in the finals, and we sent him off to Germany within 2 or 3 days. And they did a great job on him. But the injury that he had would require at least 2 to 3 more weeks to be fully healed. So he went to the Olympics nursing, not fully healed. And we were hoping that we could get 3 races out of him because we knew that the possibility that the injury would be reoccur,
Yes.
because it's not fully. So after he ran this semi, we took it very easy in the final, in the
First
heats,
round,
the first round. And our plan was to also take it easy in the semis to make that one run in the final. So after he ran the semi-final, and the way he looked, and when he came back and we discussed, I said to him, but we was hoping that you never had to run so hard. And he says, well, I wasn't running.
Well, he looked impressive, I can say that.
Yes, he said he just drove for a short thing, and then after that he wasn't really running hard. He was cruising down. So, and he said he felt overall he wasn't feeling tired. He felt strong and he was ready, but he wasn't. He just the area was having some discomfort.
Can you say what type of injury it is?
It's in the groin, the hip and the groin muscles thing.
So something else that they touched on here in the interview was whether or not Oblique Civil needed a sports psychologist.
Oblique, I see a few individuals suggesting that given what has happened in the last 3 years, that maybe he could benefit from having a sports psychologist, especially going into the 2025
There's
season?
nothing wrong with him mentally.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with him mentally. It's funny. Last year,
Yeah.
his performance, based on the fact that he was injured, couldn't train for thing.
And he got injured in May last year.
Just the week before
Racers
Grand Prix. And for him to come back and make the team, it was a gutsy thing. He made it by what, 100th of a second. That's a man whose mind is strong. And when I don't know, in sports you go through this, because I remember when you say we had 2 years of it.
06 and early 07.
Well, 05
06,
and
yeah.
thing, and so on, till they even boo him and so on. So I tell him to be strong. Sports is a science, is a cycle, and his time will come. He's just 23.
Yeah.
Probably should have made him stay in Germany and continue and the treatment and come straight to the.
So the Olympics.
Because when he came to the camp, there was no
Follow
up with the treatment,
Yes.
etc.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he was able to run the next day, because when he ran the heats, we took him to the doctor came to Paris, and he went to treat, and he got treatment at 4 o'clock the very evening, so he could run the next day.
Wow.
So it's just unfortunate that his foot didn't hold up until for the finals. Yeah. But mentally, he's as tough as nail, and his competitiveness is there.
There you have it. That is what Glen Mills had to say. And for me personally, probably won't be a popular opinion, but it is what it is. That for me is a huge red flag. Because one, he shut that down immediately. So, to me, and it doesn't really have much to do with, again, how Oblique Civil performed per se and why it happened, but it's just a notion as though it seems as though he was rejecting the thought process of a sports psychologist with his entire being. That is literally the vibe that I got. And this is especially coming after the fact that in this same interview, he also spoke about where sport is going and where Jamaicans are currently, and the fact that we need to start moving forward with the things that we are utilizing, like the machines to help, to have athletes recover, more rapidly, or even just the, having access to the best physiotherapists and so forth. Like, he spoke to that. Apparently, even our best physiotherapists were outsourced to other countries, right? I'll touch on that in a different video, but right, he spoke to Jamaicans, ensuring that our athletes are given the best so that they can perform, to their best. And it kind of leads into the same conversation my sister was having earlier about whether or not we are even using nutritionists. Is that part of the reason why our athletes seemingly always go to these championships and end up being ill, right? Because, our immune is not as strong as it should be. So to ensure that Jamaicans are literally getting the best so that they can perform at their best, not only are you looking at physical equipment, physiotherapists, but you're also looking at, nutritionists as well. And as well as sports psychologist, which again, to me, it felt as though Glen Mills was rejecting the notion to his entire being, which means that it seems as though there is no sports psychologist in use for the Racers track club. Personally, that's just how it felt to me. And as I said, not necessarily, targeting, Oblique Civil and his situation particularly, but just generally speaking, there seems to be no one there that is mentally assisting the athletes to focus, on, pulling out their best performance. And even in the case of an Oblique Civil, when you can say, okay, he's had injury problems, they can help you as well, recover from said mental problems that you may develop because you're consistently being injured, right? So saying that Usain Bolt went through something similar and you will be fine. One, no two athletes are the same. That is the first thing. And to me, it also sounds like you're kind of settling as well and not necessarily striking when the iron is hot, because the reality is we don't know what's going to happen in 4 years. You know what I mean? We can look at these athletes looking so great now and think, oh my God, what's going to happen in 4 years? When in 4 years, we're looking at a whole new set of people that could potentially come through and start dominating the world. That has nothing to do with the set that we're looking at right now. And also, it seems as though there's also a rejection of the notion of anything potentially being wrong, right? Now, let me draw a comparison to Kishane Thompson. Yeah. We also heard about Kishane Thompson's, struggles heading into the men's 100-meter finals with injury, right? But also, you saw, what happened with him in the race. And hearing after that race, right, there's an acceptance from him that, hey, I acknowledge that XYZ happened to me during the race, and I could have done XYZ to make it better. And I know I can do XYZ to make it better. And I'm going to work on that, going forward. And hopefully we can see, him come out in, races to come, execute that thought process, right? So there's literally no acknowledgement of the fact that outside of, said injury, he hasn't been able to execute his best race, in a finals for these three straight global championships. And for me, therein lies the issue because, as I said, he's not the only one that is also suffering from injuries. And yes, even with injuries, there's acknowledgement that XYZ could have been done better in the race. And that's wherein lies the issue for me when it comes to, his response as it relates to, oblique seville. It's maybe I'm tripping, trackies. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Was this a huge red flag for you? Like the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.